Welcome back, everyone! My name is Charbunny, and you are watching a special edition of Lady Arcader's Attract Mode, the Frost Fatales Crafting Day Showcase. Frost Fatales is an all-women speedrunning event raising money for Malala Fund, and you can catch all of the action starting Sunday, February 26th on the Games Done Quick channel, and it will run all week long until Saturday, March 4th. But you don't even have to wait that long, because this is kind of a sneak preview. All of the crafts that you see on our stream today, all 4 of them, are going to be submitted as prizes for the event. So if you see something you like, make sure to mark your calendars for February 26th. You won't want to miss any of those incredible speedruns. And of course, for more gaming action year-round, you can follow us here at Lady Arcaders. And if you have an idea for a gaming-related showcase, such as what you see today or something different, applications for Attract Mode for March are still open. You can find a link in the panels below stream or check out ladyarcaders.com. But for now, up next, we're going to be joining Threach for a cozy crocheting session as we craft the adorable snowy Pokemon, Snom. Everyone, please put your coziest or snowiest emotes in chat, and let's get crafting.
Hello, friends. Hi. Hello. Welcome to crafting a Snom with Threach. I'm Threach, or Kelly. I'm really excited to be here, and I don't know what I'm doing for the most part, which is very exciting. So thanks, Char, for the intro there. So today I have decided to create a Snom Amigurumi, which is a little crocheted plushie. If you have followed many of the GDQ events before, you've seen some amigurumis. So an interesting thing is that Snom is not Snom is not actually in this year's Frost Fatales, but I made one of these for a Christmas present for a friend, and I was almost not going to give it to that friend because it's wonderful. So this chunky boy is going to come out to be about like 10 inches long and about 6 inches high. And what we will work on tonight is crocheting parts of the Snom. We'll do some spikes. We will continue the long tube, which is actually the body of my precious boy. Snom is a Gen 8 Pokemon, so pretty late in the game, but one of those things that you instantly fall in love with. It's like in 2018 when Gritty was released as the Philadelphia Flyers hockey mascot. It was one of those things where you're like, I didn't know, but now I know. And that's how I feel about Snom, like just this very spiritual connection to Snom.
The Gritty Snom comparison is not what I was expecting for today, but I see it though.
I am here for the Gritty. I'm here for Gritty forever. So hi to everyone, and thank you for having me on. We will get some crochet actually started. And yeah, this is my Snorlax hat. I have a Slowpoke hat up there too, which is maybe what I should do if I run over estimate. But I'm not going to run over estimate because we're professionals here. So stop pull a toothbrush with no brush on it. No. So a few things that I'm going to point out for you today. This is a very small crochet hook. Like this thing is tiny. This is a size C, which I think is about 2.5 millimeters for the measurement. So that's like basically the size of the hook that I'm going to use. If you're familiar with yarn crafts, don't at me because I've only been crocheting since about October, so only a few months. But for some reason, it's just really come to me pretty quickly. Knitting took a little bit of time, but crocheting has kind of come together pretty quickly. So knitting has 2 needles, crochet has 1, and basically what you're doing is moving one piece of yarn in and out of itself forever. So ultimately what you end up with is a thing, a piece that you can sort of stuff with batting and sew eyes onto, and we're going to sew some spikes as well. So as we get started with basically our work, you can see that there is some progress that has been done here. This is a beautiful cotton yarn, and it is I think it's a lace weight. It's quite light. Basically, yarn comes in different weights, and that is basically how big or how small each strand is as you use it. So this is an Egyptian cotton yarn, so it's very, very soft, very luxurious, and the like feel of the Snom when you're holding it is so like just very, very, very squishy. Like you just want to squish the little boy. This variant, also, you'll notice, I know that the color is kind of washed out because of the lighting, and I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to lighting, but the color of this is actually this really beautiful blush color. So we are making a shiny Snom variant. Snom, yes.
The shiny one? Oh my goodness.
It sure is. So Snom typically is blue and white. And I made a blue and white one for a friend of mine for Christmas, but I thought Frost Fatales is a very special occasion, and what could be more special than catching a shiny Snom? So, most of the body of this Snom is going to be made with the single crochet. So the single crochet stitch is like your fundamental stitch in crochet. I'm using US terms, so if you're in the UK or if you're using another like international crochet verbiage, like you may call it something different other than the single crochet, but I'm in the US, so I'm going to use US terms. So we are effectively taking the hook and inserting it within under the two loops that make up sort of the perimeter of this Snom. You can see there are a bunch of these V's, the places where the two pieces of yarn meet. We place our hook underneath those two V's and hook onto this piece of yarn that's back here. We're going to pull it through until we have two loops on the hook, as you can see here. And then we're going to do a yarn over, which is just the act of putting your yarn over the crochet hook. And we'll take that, sort of snug it on there, and then we're going to pull through. And that is the basic action of a single crochet. Shout outs to chat. What's up, chat? I hope everyone is looking forward to Frost Fatales. Char, are you so excited? Because these are seriously some of my favorite events throughout the year.
I am so incredibly excited. So you called out that Snom may not make an appearance, but there are two maybe Pokemon runs. One of them is Pokemon Coliseum, which was a GameCube game that came out forever ago because it was on GameCube. I loved it, and one of the cool things about it is it's all double battles. And so now I looked up and it's like your fingers are moving at just lightning speed already. This is going to be great.
Oh, we're chatting. We're catching some Pokemon. We're making a Snom.
Yeah, Pokemon Coliseum, it's all doubles battles, and so I'm really interested to see how that changes a Pokemon speedrun from what you might expect with, singles battles where you just get one good Pokemon and then that's your entire run. But there's also a Pokemon typing adventure, and I'm just really curious how that's gonna work. So definitely as a Pokemon fan, there's some stuff to look forward to in the event. What about for you? Are there any runs upcoming that you're like, I absolutely need to drop everything and watch this?
Yes. Okay. So I was talking, we were during Eliza's what's it called, cross-stitching showcase immediately before this. They were asking about runs that we're looking forward to. I am so excited, not just for the Pokemon runs, but also for Dark Souls 2 Soup percent. Yes. I don't know what that means.
I mean, I do, but I can't tell if it's spoilers because
keep it a secret. I don't want to know.
Okay, all right.
I don't want to. You know what? That's
common answer.
The secret. No, it's fun.
It's definitely fun.
I love Dark Souls speedruns. I am so... if you're in the Frost Fatales Discord and you're in the RPGs channel, you know how I feel about Ornstein and Smo. But I am hot garbage at Dark Souls games, but I could watch those speedruns endlessly. So Soup percent Dark Souls 2. It's going to be great. And everything I know about Dark Souls 2, I know from Happy Souls, that old animated short on YouTube, which is a whole thing. Other than that, the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise randomizer, I always enjoy that.
That one's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I know that's a pretty robust community. They've got a lot of races that go on. I think it's a co-op run this time, so it's just going to be good stuff.
Yeah, that one's going to be fun.
Yeah. So this is the curse of being new to crochet, is that you don't always, one of the things you have to kind of control for is using tension. Tension is just the strength with which you pull on your yarn. So you can see one of these loops is actually, one of these V's is actually a little bit bigger. So crocheting is so forgiving when it comes to making mistakes. I am a person who makes a lot of mistakes. So knitting, if you lose your place in knitting, or like you make the wrong stitch, or you drop a stitch, or you add a stitch somehow, you're just gonna have to figure it out, man. And with crocheting, it's like I just pull it out until I put it back in. So, yeah, super duper easy. I just pulled the work out to the point where I needed to correct it, and I'm trying to. Everyone has like a different way that they hold their crochet string or yarn, and I still haven't totally figured mine out. Most of the time, it looks like I'm making an unkind gesture, but I really am just trying to keep the tension correct. So we'll keep going with this. You can see we're making a series of single crochets. It is literally just this around for, I don't know, we've got like 6 more rows. If you're interested in learning how to crochet, there are a few resources that I would recommend. One of the probably the best one that I can recommend is an app that's called Row Counter. Everyone's going to have a different way of like keeping track of their projects, and I specifically was like stubborn about not using one at first. I didn't use like stitch counters or row markers or anything like that. Now this is like the best thing. You can keep track of like what row you're on. You can import the pattern. It's free, so like I don't feel too bad talking about it. And basically you can keep track of where in the project you are, because it's very easy to lose track of this.
Can confirm. I tend to do a little bit of knitting, just like dishcloths, very small scale things. But interestingly, I kind of found it was the opposite. When I tried crocheting, it was so easy to make mistakes as a beginner because I wasn't good at finding those little V's yet.
Yep.
And so I'd mess things up all the time. And with knitting, there's loops on your needles. And so you can definitely still add stitches. I'm not going to pretend like that hasn't happened before, but I feel like it was easier for me to avoid making mistakes. But to be fair, like you said, when you miss something, it's just, okay, pull it out and it's done. With knitting, you have to pull it out and then go individually put every single loop back on one of the needles. And that does take a little bit of time.
Who has the time? You were talking before we started going live about the Pokemon with extra parts, like hand slash.
Let's clarify we're talking. Yeah, I was about to say, let's clarify what we're talking
Snom
about.
with shoulders and hand slash. And
Caternies is the originator of this meme, yes.
And then I was thinking about Catter Needles just now, and then like Caternies just doing more knitting. Honestly, I think that would be very wholesome for them.
They totally could, though. It'd be like, cool. Yeah, and it can make its own thread too, right? Because it's a caterpillar Pokemon, so it has string shot as a move.
Oh, little silky. Oh my gosh, this is perfect. It's all coming together. Just like this Snom kind of. Also, shout outs to the hand slash is a nightmare, but like a beautiful nightmare. Shout outs to this Pokemon blanket that I have behind me that has a bunch of different just awful Pokemon names, including ESPN and EB. What is it? The Bayleaf is just called Beef, which honestly was like the reason that we got the blanket. But little Pokemon buds hanging out behind. Catter Needles, yeah, no. Oh yeah, strong emotional damage. It's just Catter Needles is not okay.
There was a video where someone asked like their grandmother to try to come up with what the names were of the original Pokemon, and when they got to Charmander, she was just like, he looks nice, I'm gonna name him Jeff, or just some other completely arbitrary name. And I love that so much.
Oh, it's like Sword and Shield, the unbeatable Charizard, Jeff. Okay, so like if Hand Slash was gonna eat a breakfast food, would it be pancakes? Because I saw y'all talking about pancakes in chat before we started, and now I want pancakes. Like cheesy hash browns, yes, please.
Pancakes are so versatile too, right? You can add so many different toppings, so many different mix-ins. I've definitely made variety bunny-shaped pancakes before, and were they good? No, but they looked cute, and you know what? That's kind of good enough. My cooking skills.
One of the things that they teach you in like when you're preparing food in food service, like people eat with their eyes, and so if you make something that looks good, it's gonna taste better even if it's bad than if it looked as bad as it tastes.
There you go. Yeah, this has been part of an ongoing saga of me cooking breakfast for my family, which there's only 2 episodes, but they're both dumb enough that like it counts. The first was when my mom came over for the first time after I got my like own little place, and I was like, oh mom, what do you want for breakfast tomorrow? How about toast? And she kind of internally, she'll notice afterward, was like, Really? You're telling me you're gonna cook me toast? Wow, it's so impressive. But I told her like out loud that we're in the car. It's like, oh, but we may need to stop by Target on the way home because I don't think I actually have everything that I need. And she's like, what could you possibly be missing for toast? It's
For
like,
toast.
well, I don't have bread. Okay, can see why that would be a problem. Why did you offer to make toast if you don't own bread? It's okay, Mom, we can get this. I'm also missing butter. And then I dropped the real one on her, which is, and by the way, I don't have a toaster, so we need to buy one of those too.
There are like two components to toast.
Yeah,
bread and heat. That's it.
So I dragged my poor mom to Target while she was visiting me for the first time, as you know, I'm supposed to be an adult. And we had to buy a toaster and bread and butter. And then I did make her toast the next morning, but I didn't let her use the toaster because she didn't read the instructions, and it said you couldn't operate the toaster without reading the instructions. So I got additional eye rolls for that.
You know, I bet your mom is the type of person who removes the tags off of mattresses too.
She probably is.
I don't know anything about your mom. I'm sure she's lovely. Hi, Mom.
She's wonderful. She's an elementary school teacher, so she has plenty of patience to deal with me being an idiot at times.
What a saint. Oh my gosh. My sisters are all teachers, and a few of my good friends are teachers from college, or a few friends from college are teachers. The patience, just the undying patience. It's amazing.
I know.
Teachers are heroes.
They are. There was a summer where I helped out with elementary summer school in like an ESL classroom. And I don't speak Spanish that well, but I've been taking AP Spanish at the time. So it's like, yeah, it's close enough to communicate with a 4-year-old. I got this. And I know the Spanish word for worm. And is that a worm, like a word you ever really need to know? No, but at recess one time, it was raining and all the kids are gathered around this little worm in a puddle and just staring at it. And I went over to check that they're not trying to like eat it or anything silly, and they were fine. But this little tiny kid, in all seriousness, comes up to me and goes, "El gusano no muerde," just with the most intense expression. All that means is the worm doesn't bite. So he just wanted to let me know that it was safe, that the worm didn't bite, but like I will forever remember that phrase because it was the most adorable thing. You know, I kind of could have figured that out, buddy, but I'm so glad you thought this was important information to share.
You know, I feel like childhood me would not have known whether or not worms bit. Like I still am really, really weirded out by bugs, insects, that whole shtick. But I think I would have been afraid of worms biting me.
So I gotta ask that, how did you end up deciding on Snom, first as a gift and now as a bonus crafting creation, given the potential aversion to worms and bug type things, given this is a bug type Pokemon?
Snom is just a guy. Have you seen Snom? Have you looked at Snom?
Can't argue with that logic.
No, I feel like, so, okay, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Here are the Pokemon games that I have played. Red.
All right, I got
Blue.
Okay, that's a good start.
Pokemon Go.
That is way later in time, but still counts.
And we have a Pokemon bot in our Discord channel, and we catch them in there, and that's how I know what Pokemon are.
There you go.
All bugs are just little guys. You know what? Quote for the ages.
Oh gosh.
Please capture the toast story because that is just phenomenal. I am so glad that you brought up different languages because one of the things that I wanted to bring to this crafting session is knowledge, not just about crocheting, but about many languages, including
educational stream here.
Oh, absolutely. We love teachers in this stream, and we love learning different languages, learning different skills. The German name for Lickitung, for example, is Schlurp.
Schlurp. I mean, that fits. I don't know any German, and it still is accurate.
It's a whole thing. I love it. So I mentioned the Pokebot in the Discord. One of the things it does is it also pops up like the names for them in different languages, so you can catch Schlurp. It's so good. It's shout outs to Schlurp.
Makes sense.
It's Indy has it right there. SCHLURP. Schlurp. The German name for Snom is Snom Nom.
Snom Nom.
I love it. Oh, it's so pure.
It's so good.
It's so pure. The Snorlax hat that I have on shout outs to German, the German language in general as a concept, but also, but the German name for Snorlax is Relaxo.
How are the names just so accurate? They're just so absolutely correct.
It's like, it's not onomatopoeia, but it's like conceptual onomatopoeia where it's like, okay, the name says exactly what that is. Like,
Right.
you look at Charmander and you're like, that is a Jeff. And it just it's like dogs and people that look together or that look alike. It's like names of things that perfectly describe what they are. Schlurp. Absolutely.
So correct.
Chat, you're all learning something today. Relaxo is your DJ name. Oh, it's so good. I have a whole list of them pulled up too. Wheezing. I'm gonna give you 2 for wheezing. In French, wheezing is smogogo, and in German, wheezing is smogmog, which is very similar.
So good, though.
They're so good.
I want to challenge chat to come up with another equivalently correct name for Snom. Like, if you were to name Snom in your own made-up language, what would your Snom name be? I don't have one. I'm really bad at names. That's why I have to ask chat to help.
It's hard. I honestly like, and we're up to like 1,000 Pokemon at this point with the release of Scarlet Violet. Like,
you hit 1,000 with Goldango, I think.
How do you come up with 1,000 names? But then I think of like, what was the one? Sometimes they just make Pokemon that are literally just cups of tea. So it's like a trade-off.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think that Sinistea and Poltegeist are both excellent names. That it's a bad example. Yeah, those are fantastic. Char, do you have a favorite Pokemon game? Are you a Pokemon kind of person?
Yes. So the Char in Char Bunny is actually from Charmander and Charizard. So like,
excellent.
Since I was a kid making up this username, that has been a core part of my identity. So yes, absolutely.
Not Charmeleon though. The shade.
I feel
the
bad
shade.
About this. Okay, so here's my thing about middle evolution in Pokemon. When you start the game, you get that.
Wait, let me take
notes.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
You're supposed to be crocheting. This is a crafting.
Who knows what we're doing? Who knows what I'm doing at any time?
So, when you start a Pokemon game, that very first moment where you get a Pokemon and you form that bond with it is with that first evolution. And that very first obstacle that you take on, that first rival fight, that first gym victory, your first badge, it's with that starting evolution. And then when you finish the game, when you're taking down the evil team, when you're fighting the Elite Four, becoming the champion, that's when you're on your final evolution. And those are the parts that you remember, those legendary battles, those epic journeys. That part in the middle where you get gym badges 3 and 4, not memorable whatsoever. And that's when you have your middle evolution. And so there's just so much less there to like bond with them over and to remember them for. It's just kind of this transition period. And I feel guilty about saying that my username isn't reflective of Charmeleon, even though that could work, because I know in my heart it's just not true. All of the important core memories were formed with Charmander and Charizard.
You know what? I think that Charmeleon walked so that Charizard could fly.
That's a beautiful way of saying it.
That's the real homage. Oh.
I have nothing against Charmeleon's design. I think when I was little, my brother and I dressed up as Pokemon one year for Halloween because, we were kids in the 90s.
Yeah.
But I think that I was actually Pikachu in this because the Charmeleon outfit only came in a smaller size, and so he is actually Charmeleon in those photos, and I'm Pikachu. So it makes it even worse if I say I don't like Charmeleon, because like my brother literally was Charmeleon one year, and I do love my brother. I want to very much clarify that.
That is just a central core identity step there, and you're just like, no, I reject this and you. Wow, Charbunny the Heartless. I can't believe this.
So when you ask about games, though, we actually got more into Pokemon in Gen 2 than Gen 1. We were just a little bit outside of that range, and so we've actually cosplayed before as Crystal and Gold from Gen 2, which was my very first attempt at cosplay. So it was quite the adventure, but very, very fun.
That's awesome. I have heard from a very reliable source that Heart Gold and Soul Silver are like the best Pokemon games.
I did love those.
Yeah.
I'll admit I got really stuck because I wanted to just keep playing the Olympics minigame, and I don't know that I actually finished it because I was too busy jumping hurdles with different Pokemon to play the rest of the game. same. I got minigame trapped a little bit. Do you have, like, what was your starter Pokemon, though, back in the day? You said you played Red and Blue. Did you pick different starters for each? Has it been just a while? It's, maybe faded out of memory?
It has been since the days of owning an original Game Boy, which I do. Like, I have the one where the screen didn't melt when we put it in the back seat of the car when we went to SeaWorld. Like, because if you remember SeaWorld, I'm dating myself here. But back, so I feel like I probably heard at some point that strategically Squirtle may be the best option, but then I'm thinking, like, maybe it's Bulbasaur. But I don't think I picked Bulbasaur. I thought Bulbasaur was dumb. I realize now that's a whole meme, and I was wrong. So I'm sorry. I feel like GDQ Shen is...
I was about to say, watch out. We have apologies that you may need to make.
I recognize the error of my ways now. Do I know anything about typing? No. Like, not outside of what I learned from, like, Final Fantasy games. Of just, like, hey, water and electric. Probably not. I also think it's really silly. Why is there ground and rock? Why are there rock and ground Pokemon? Why? Oh no, I got canceled. Oh no.
If there's a rock on your floor, you need to pick it up. And if there's dirt on your floor, you sweep it up. So, like, obviously those are fundamentally different elements.
What is dirt but very small rocks?
But yet there's a distinction. Would you pick up a bunch of dirt using your fingers? Would you try to sweep a boulder? I think.
I can't wait until we get the silt and loam Pokemon. Thrilled for when those come out.
The word loam is one of my favorites from Pokemon specifically, because in Gen 3, I think it was when they introduced berry planting, they started using the phrase the dirt is loamy, or like loamy dirt. And as a kid, it was like, what the heck does that even mean?
I think loam is like a layer of sort of like aerated dirt. Does anyone know what loam is?
It, right? It's like fluffy.
Shout out to geologists.
While we're talking about educational, I also learned the word impeccable from a Pokemon game. That was Gen 4, and it's because I kept training by beating this one poor guy with a Chatot, and he'd always say my timing was impeccable. I just thought that was really cool. Also, I realized I asked people for Snom names and then proceeded to completely forget that chat existed for like 5 minutes. I apologize, chat. So I want to shout out some of the Snom names. Snom being Glimplo, and Snomums, which is really adorable. So thank you, chat, for some creativity on that one.
I love chat. Good old chat. How's everyone doing? Okay, I've had some questions that have popped up in my mind. Like, I would like to know everyone's favorite breakfast foods, but then you were talking about learning the word impeccable. And I thought, that reminds me of a question I saw the other day that was, what word made you fail the spelling bee? What word made you lose the spelling bee? And for me, there were 2 of them. There are only 2 words that I can remember specifically not knowing how to spell and then spelling them incorrectly. Psychedelic, which has an E in the middle, and Massachusetts, because I thought it had an E in the end, but it doesn't.
Dang. Oh my goodness. We never had spelling bee at our school that I can remember. At the very least, I don't remember doing it. But we did something, so there's some workbook we had. And in order to encourage people to do really well on these little tests that we would get, this is in elementary school still, there was a paper crown that said wordly wisest of them all. And if you got 100, you got to wear that crown. And I took this very seriously. And so I don't remember what the word was, but I know I missed exactly one word one time and didn't get to wear the crown and had a full-on meltdown in the middle of the classroom.
Are you me?
I don't know, maybe I am. Are you seeing it at the same place right now? You're just a very, very experienced ventriloquist to be able to do voices while talking.
Sorry to everyone for whom we've spoiled the surprise, but actually Charbunny and I are controlling each other's speech right now. That's just how it happens.
It's very coordinated.
I love the contribution of the word seltzer, because Setzer is a character in Final Fantasy VI, and I got that confused for a while too. So shout outs to the greatest Final Fantasy game.
I know we kept talking about Final Fantasy, and I think you said the Free Enterprise run was happening at this event. There's so many just cool speedruns happening.
I really hope that everyone in chat has seen a Frame Fatales event before, but if you haven't, it is it's such a good time. It's just really wholesome. It's a lot of ladies who just, and non-binary folks who just want to get together and play some games, and I think that's beautiful. I think that's lovely.
Right?
It just creates a space for so many people, and that is exactly the kind of camaraderie and community that more gaming spaces need.
Right? It makes me so happy every time we do these, so I'm really excited. Again, February 26th on the Games Done Quick channel. Mark your calendars. Yay! Or write post-it notes, or however else you keep track of important events.
I will ball up a piece of paper with the dates written on it and lob it at your house if you need me to. I'll just launch it into the atmosphere to see what happens. They spell antidote. I feel like antidote and anecdote are very, very close. Like, not semantically, but like emotionally.
I can see that though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I haven't known what I'm talking about this entire time, and yet we're still having fun, so I think we're good to go.
It's true. I would like to take a moment just to let everyone know that the French name for Duskull is Skelenox, and this little guy just hanging out, just floating. Goodbye, Duskull.
Oh.
As someone mentioned at some point, all women want for Valentine's Day is skulls. This was a thing last year, and so I got a skull for Valentine's Day. It was very sweet.
That's adorable. Oh my goodness.
You know what? Who doesn't want some skulls?
Right? I can be on board with that.
In the most wholesome and legal way.
Right, let's clarify. Please only use ethically sourced skulls. Your gift giving process.
Made out of fabric. Fabric and love.
Fabric.
Yes.
Good combination there.
Yes. So we are on row 25, I think, according to my row counter, which I have probably been keeping up with. We are going to take this to row 28. And then what happens is, after that, we've got about 12 rows total where we're going to have to follow a pattern of stitching and decreasing. Decreasing is basically just sort of skipping a stitch, but incorporating it into the one. It's hard. It's hard to explain. But what we want to do is make the tube narrower. So it will come out as sort of like, oh, where's my camera going askew? It will come out as sort of like a pill shape. So it'll be like this if we just reverse it. So that'll be like our Snom body. And then it's got a few rows of spikes. It's got 5 spikes in the first row and 5 spikes in the second row. And then it's got 2 spikes on its butt. So one sort of up top, one on the bottom, and then that is our Snom. The creation of this, the actual assembly of the Snom, is going to be, we'll sew on the eyes. Again, this might happen after the stream, just depending on time-wise, like what we're looking at, and also, how much I talk compared to how much I crochet. But the eyes are going to go on the Snom. We've got little black buttons. And then I've got some batting that I'm going to stuff it with, and you want to make sure it has like a little bit of firmness, but you don't want it to be too squishy, but you also don't want it to be like immovable. So I would be happy to. This is a pattern that I purchased online. There are a lot of like crocheting and knitting communities, things like Ravelry. Like I said, the Row Counter app is really awesome. You can find the pattern online. If you yell at me on Discord, I can show you where I got the pattern and stuff too. But there are tons and tons of free patterns for all sorts of things online. If you want to make little friends, that's definitely an option. One of the things that I have been working on is the granny square blanket. So I've been putting granny squares in sort of like a pixel art pattern. If I had a granny square right here, I would show it to you, but it's basically a square about that big, and when you put it together, it looks like pixels. So for 8-bit and 16-bit games that you enjoy, that's a kind of thing where if you've got some time and a crochet hook and a bunch of yarn, you can make that happen for yourself as well. So the nice thing about crocheting, other than it being very forgiving, is that it's really easy to just like pick up different projects and sort of work on what you feel like working on. I definitely am a person who has not a lot of loyalty to the same project for a long time. We were talking a little bit before this about palate fatigue and just getting tired of like eating the same food all the time. And that's kind of how I feel about projects too, because I will be like, I don't even want to look at this color of yarn, and then turn to something else. Crocheting allows you to basically, I could take this, I'm not going to do it now because I'm on camera, but you could take this off the hook, set the Snom aside, find some different yarn, and start a different project. An example of that, actually, for the sake of working with this project, would be if we wanted to start a spike. Sorry, my camera keeps moving. It is what it is. I'm going to show you this just to demonstrate some other techniques in case this is something that you are interested in doing. Maybe just getting an introduction to these techniques can be helpful for identifying them. If you need, sometimes I have trouble, like I don't even know what to search for. If I go to YouTube and I want to find patterns or techniques or something, like what do I even look for? One of the most common things that I've found for sort of seamless and more finished looking projects is a magic ring. That's one of the things that they'll tell you to make. And I finally have gotten it down to a point where I don't need to watch a tutorial video about it. So we could use the same hook because again, our Snom is just chilling out over here. And if we wanted to start on the spikes or we wanted to start on a different project, basically we are going to start this magic ring. So magic ring starts like this, where you take your piece of yarn, wrap it around your two fingers, and then cross it over. And basically, it's going to look like that. If you don't remember this, that's fine. Like I said, it took me a long time to figure it out without a video. You insert the hook under the first string and over the second one. You pull it back through, give it a twist, and then that's on your hook. And then you grab this, and I think... Do I pull it through? Kelly, what are you doing? You're embarrassing yourself. No, it's fine. Basically, that allows you to form a ring that can be expanded and contracted. So when you need to finish the work, you can basically just pull it and it becomes smaller and smaller and smaller until the gap closes. Most of the time, though, you do want to be working within that loop. So you want to keep it open just so you have some room to actually progress. So I'm going to let you all know that the German name for Torchic is Flemly, or Flamly, depending on...
I like how we go from very detailed technical explanation of how crochet works to this immediate on a dime, and now we're back to talking about
Absolutely
Pokemon names.
Oh yeah,
That's great.
It is. It has been a joy. I love seeing them in Pokemon. I've been playing the new Snap too, which I think is great. I think that's super fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. It's beautiful too. Like it's a really gorgeous game. You know, I know Switch graphics and all that, but I think that they did really well with that. So here, all right, we're gonna start with the magic ring, and what I'm basically doing is adjusting my camera again, pivoting to the creation of a spike. Now we have to make a ton of these spikes, and if I get tired of forming the body, I could just be like, okay, I'll just start working on a few of these because then I can knock them out. It's very good if your attention span is compromised or just like, you know, you're like, I don't feel like doing this.
It's always
anymore.
Good to have some variety to switch to.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. So what we're going to do is we're going to work 6 single crochets into this magic ring. So we're going to do 1, and you can see we're kind of starting by inserting the hook into the magic ring. We're going to go 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, hopefully I don't embarrass myself, but we'll see what happens. So you can see that there's this little grub looking boy, this little snuggin here, and we are going to pull that because what we want is to have this all in one cohesive piece.
It's like magic.
It is. It's a magic ring. We've come full circle.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you can't write this stuff, folks. So, that's our first round. No, with the spikes, they have a total of 9 rounds, so we should be able to get through 1 or 2 of these here. Round 2 is going to be a pattern of 1 single crochet and 1 increase. Now, an increase is just doing a single crochet in the same loop that you just did the first one in. So it would be like a single crochet in the first stitch, 2 single crochets in the second stitch, a single crochet in the third stitch, 2 single crochets in the fourth stitch. That's how you do an increase. And we've got 6 stitches right now. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 around. And what we want to do with the increase is make this now a row of 9 stitches. So 9 stitches will be our second round. So following that pattern, we are going to start working in the round here. So we'll find our first stitch, which is this V here. And so I didn't bring this up before, but I said I started crocheting in October. I learned how to knit in probably 2013 or 2014. So shout outs to my sister for teaching me how to knit. But I tried picking up crochet and just could not do it. I had no idea where the needle or where the hook went. I didn't know like what constituted the stitch and what parts of it were where and where I don't know. YouTube was a different beast back in like 2011 or 2013 or wherever it was.
Feel you on that one.
Yeah. Once again, I'm dating myself here. But I don't know what clicked. Something just clicked where I was like, oh, that's much easier than I've been making it. And I just had to like put it down for a little while and then I came back to it and it was fine. So, could be if you've tried it before and you couldn't get it, maybe, you know, like as you get older, your brain changes and then you're like, oh, I guess I was overcomplicating things. Or you could just hate it forever. That's also fine too. Totally valid.
I like how we've got options. It has been fun today to watch all these different styles of crafting getting showcased, right? We had like cross stitching, we had putting jewels on things, we've got crocheting now. I got more coming up. I think it's so cool to see that variety where you go, oh, I love this game. I want to make something about this game. And just all the different ways that you can sort of honor that game or, you know, shout it out in crafting. And there's something for then everyone, right? Like if yarn isn't your thing, don't like the texture, there's perler beads. If you don't like those because that includes an oven, then guess what? You're back to yarn. Like you got options.
And if it does include a toaster for perlers, you know what's good news, Char, is that you've
got my house on fire if I tried to use a toaster to heat perler beads.
I think I feel like anyone would. Like I don't think you're alone in that.
It was not mentioned in the instructions that came with the toaster because I read them.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm pretty sure that would be covered under like some other uses clause that is like basically we do not cover your house burning down if you take this action.
There is no situation in which I want to call my house and my home insurance and be like, so.
Although relatedly, the only reason I have an iron is for perler beads, and that came in handy when my mom came to visit that same time. And she asked, you know, oh, hey, do you have an iron? You know, my shirt's a bit wrinkly. And it took me 30 minutes to find because it was in one of the boxes I'd moved fairly recently. Oh, gosh. This was not my best showing as an adult who can take care of herself because between that and the toast. So according to her, she also kept looking in the mirror during this time because she could tell it was taking me forever and going like, is it really that wrinkly? Do I really need the iron? And going like, yeah, I really do.
Oh.
I did find it. And the next time she came to visit, when she arrived in my house, I had it positioned in the center of my coffee table so that she knew that I actually understood where my iron was this time.
See, Mom?
Character growth.
Oh my gosh, that's a whole arc. That's a character arc. I feel like this is where like the new chapter starts. Like this is where you get the cutscene and then the new chapter of your life starts out.
We're getting closer though, because this time when they came, this was last year, like I said, I made bunny pancakes for everyone. Mm-hmm. And I announced that I was going to be making bunny pancakes because I was excited about it. Mom says, okay, great, what else? And I froze for a second because I would just make bunny pancakes. And to her, dinner or breakfast, you know, should include probably, I don't know, like a fruit or vegetable, maybe something with a nutritional value, and some sort of like protein, like eggs or something. And so it was one of those, as soon as she asked the question, it's like, oh, I know what you're expecting. This time I dragged my brother with me to Target to get the requisite ingredients. But we got there.
You know what? That's what he gets for dressing as Charmeleon, honestly. You have to go grocery shopping with me. I don't make the rules.
Teamwork. No, it's great. Because what happened is my parents, it was my whole family visiting. So my parents were staying in a hotel because I just don't have enough space for 3 additional people. Sure. My brother stayed with me. And how this works out great is that he and I can then stay up as late as we want playing dumb video games. And my mom doesn't have to, you know, complain about being kept awake. So it was fantastic. We played some Looney Tunes That was Looney Tunes Back in Action for the Nintendo GameCube.
Oh
It was
my gosh.
such a bad platformer, but Looney Tunes Back in Action was one of my favorite games as a kid, so we still finished it, even though both of us were like, what the heck is it? The final boss uses a completely different mechanic than the entire rest of the game, and no, the controls are not explained prior to this.
Of course not. Oh my gosh.
It was such a mess. But, you know, there's something to be said for hopping around as Bugs Bunny, so I had fun.
Have you ever played the game Rayman?
No, but I have seen that one. I know what you're talking about.
So, I am one of 7 kids, so a lot of my childhood was
a
like...
lot more, yeah.
Yeah.
But you have, like, almost enough for the entire evolutions. Sorry, that was the thought that popped into my head with this.
Wait,
like,
what?
That's, like
ESPN?
Yes. Can you assign each of your siblings to a square on the blanket behind you, please?
Oh, you don't want me to do that on camera. I don't want to. Not in a place where that's going to be recorded.
My brain, for some reason, just decided this is the right moment to bring up Eevee and how many of those there are. Please continue.
Oh my lord. Yeah, no. They would be able to hold that against me. I think I've lost my stitch count. We're just gonna take a quick moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We're looking for 15, so we're good. Let me see. Okay, so you can't see them because that's the way that the camera works. That's visual arts for you. Sylveon is
educational things today.
Yes, maybe I can point it up a little bit. So Sylveon is Sailor Moon. Glaceon is Glazed Donut, which I love. Leafeon is just Leaf.
Not inaccurate.
Right. Leafeon is just Leaf. ESPN for Espeon. We've got EB for Eevee. And Umbreon is just it's so good. What else do we have?
Wow.
Oh, we've got Flamon, Voltron, and Vapemon.
And yet I still know exactly which Pokemon each of those are, so you can't say the names are too far off, right? That works.
Perfect. It's perfection. Shoutouts to the now defunct location in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania called the Sad Boy Vape Lounge. Which honestly is a better name than I could even ever come up with if I tried.
People are just incredibly creative.
Incredible.
It's German
amazing.
Pokemon naming team.
Oh.
Just A+ work.
What's our next one? I'm not going to read Magmar, but if you want a fun one, you can read Magmar in Japanese, like the I suppose anglicization of the Japanese name for Magmar. The German name for Chinchu is Lampy, which I think is very cute.
Aww.
Little Lampy.
That's a good one. It is a little underwater lamp, dude.
Alright, where are we?
That's a great question. Are we still doing increases? I know that's what we talked about last week.
Yeah, for sure. Alright. So round 4, we've got 3 single crochets and an increase. So we're gonna do 1. We're gonna lose our yarn immediately. 2. What did we say? 3. Yes. So this one's 4 and an increase, which should take us up to 18. 2, 3.
So right now we're making a spike. Like, what part of the spike do we have right now? Do we have the bottom? Are we coming down from the top?
That's a fantastic question. So we are actually forming this from the top down. This magic ring that we formed is basically going to be the top of the spike.
Okay.
This is creating like a little hat for your thumb, but also
a little hat.
Yeah, it's just a little guy. So you create it from like the tip of the spike down, and the increases will go until you've got a row, and it's going to be like a little pyramid shape. And we do stuff each of those individually, so that is a bit of a chore. But over time, we should have this like gradual increase that forms a really like gentle slope that just forms a nice little spike. It's great.
Nice little spike. When you fill them then, do you fill it and then attach it, or do you like attach it and then try to fill it in? What is the order of operations on stuffing the Snom?
I think whatever gets it done is the most successful method. So
Good answer.
Yeah, so let me just do this increase and then I will consider that. I see Gengar's in chat also. I love that Gengar on this is gender. I think that is wonderful. Gengar is the best.
I was not expecting Gengar on there, but that's awesome.
He's just hanging out. He's a little tongue. Snorlax does crochet in his sleep. It's wonderful. So if you are sewing these on, basically I think the best way to do it is you take your Snom tube and then like pretend this is
just the phrase Snom tube.
Oh,
is
yeah.
not going to make me not laugh at all.
We're tubing here. So you take your Snom tube and this is already stuffed at this point. And then you take the spike and you sew most of it. And then you put the stuffing under the spike and then sew like the last quarter of it. So that way you can still shape it and you haven't over understuffed it.
Okay, that makes sense.
I also want to say that you could get Snom tube as knuckle tattoos. So just saying, free ideas for anyone in chat.
The fact that was something you were able to count out just immediately and be ready with that fact is beautiful. I keep thinking about like tube as in skateboarding and like, you know, tubular and everything. And now I just want a skateboarding Snom. Like if anyone wants to make a skateboarding Snom, that would be really cool.
Do you know those the Pit Viper sunglasses? Like, are you familiar with those? Like the very garish, like bright gradient.
It sounds familiar. Yeah.
Oh, they're basically like, think of like snowboarding sunglasses, and that's kind of like what those are for everyday wear. I'm imagining Snom wearing like an Elton John sized pair of those. That
would be so epic.
That's a tubular Snom.
So a reminder to everyone that these are all these crafts that you're seeing today are potentially prizes during Frost Fatales coming up at the end of the month, and so you could then potentially have a chance to become the owner of one of these beautiful crafts by donating during the marathon on the day when that prize is offered. And whoever wins this Snom, please find someone with a skateboard, position the Snom on the skateboard so the tube part is down, and then put sunglasses on it and send me a picture, and I will be your friend forever, because that just would make me so happy.
I would love so much to give this Snom to someone. Like, as much as I want to keep it for myself, I would love this to be something that someone takes home. Elton Snom also is like top-notch name. Much of doing a crochet project is counting stitches. So we're gonna go through one more time. I just kind of like pick an arbitrary place to start because I'm bad at this. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And we need 18, so we're good, folks.
Let's go!
Yeah, let's go. So we're going to do 3 more rounds of increases and then 1 round of a single crochet, and then that will be our first spike. So yes, we are trucking along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then come on, bud. So you can see we just do 2 single crochet. Well, maybe you can't see, but I'm hoping you can see that we do 2 single crochets into the same stitch. This is also another thing you just kind of like learn to keep track of over time, is what it looks like. So I used to do like tech support, and troubleshooting is a big part of like, and reverse engineering things is a big part of how I think about these projects. I think it's easier to do it with crocheting than it is with knitting, but your mileage may vary.
Well, that makes sense. Once you learn to recognize what a specific mistake looks like, it becomes that much faster to figure out what might have gone wrong and know how to correct it back.
Yes, and I am definitely a child of my time, so I don't like not getting something right on the first try, so having to go back and do this is like good practice for that.
I know. Yep, I'm in that group of like, I want everything to be perfect. I want to always be perfect. And it's just not possible as a human to always be perfect. And so learning to deal with those times when things don't quite go exactly the way you planned. It's not only a good life skill, it's a good crafting skill, and it's a good speedrunning skill too. You know, getting that perfect run is always what you're aiming for. But knowing how to not fall off the cliff if you miss the jump as opposed to falling off the cliff is a decent thing to learn too.
Yep. You gotta learn your backup strats for everything.
Always good to have them in mind. So what is like crocheting sort of the first craft that you got into? I know you said back in 2013 or so, like, or what are some other things you've done in the
I have a craft graveyard.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right.
No, I am definitely, I don't know. I feel like this is a thing that's pretty common. But yeah, I've jewelry making a while ago. I have paper and yarn. Puzzles isn't really like a craft; it's more of a hobby. But like I have a ton of puzzles all over the place, knitting needles littering my house. I'm a mess, so mood. I don't know. What do the kids say? No cap. It's giving Snorlax vibes. I don't know. Something. TikTok. I don't know.
I'm definitely not up to date.
Oh yeah. I literally don't know the words I'm saying. But no, it's I have done a good number of crafts. I did a little bit of like perler beads and stuff like that when I was in like high school. And I think one of the nice things about sort of coming back to this is that like as you get older, I think you need to deliberately take more time for yourself because life is going to just keep throwing things at you that need to be taken care of. And you need to also remember to make yourself a priority. And so taking time out of your day to make these things, to just create something that you can put a little bit of yourself and your love into, I think is really important for just like finding sort of like self peace, I guess. That got very like yoga crunchy for a second there, but also like I was really stressing myself out during like times when I wasn't doing crafts, and I was like, oh, I guess I should probably try to like put creative energy into something. And I can always tell that like things go much better, I think, for me like mentally when I have something that I can focus on. So this is a good thing for that.
I get that so much. Like mental health, a lot of times people have told me like, oh, try meditating. Not only do I suck at meditating, I hate doing it. It's not fun. It's really not exciting to sit there and just watch myself breathe for 5 minutes. I'm not that interesting of a breather. I don't know if other people are, but I'm just never quite connected with this. But when I'm doing like a craft or a puzzle, or for me playing tennis is another one, like I'm just focused on that activity for that period of time. I'm not worrying about what happened at work this week. I'm not worrying about all the other stuff on my to-do list. I'm just focused on one thing. And that's essentially what meditation is. Just trying to keep that focus and not let other things sort of invade your headspace for that period of time. So crafting is a relaxing or, meditative activity. Absolutely. I completely agree that that's a good way to do self-care. And then you get a cute thing at the end too. That's the other benefit of crafting. If I just breathe for 5 minutes, I'm oxygenated, which I am anyway, because guess what? I also breathe if I'm doing other stuff for 5 minutes. But if I do crafts, now I have cute earrings or, an adorable little plushie. So much better.
Can you believe this host? Just constantly breathing?
You're all lucky I have a mute button. Just heavy breathing noises this whole stream.
I'm just that cat gif. That's just like heavy breathing.
Yep, that's it. You know how a visual to go with my voice.
Oh, yeah.
Now.
Oh my gosh. Somewhere in here is a rhyme and reason to what I was doing. There's 6 stitches somewhere. Are you 6? Maybe.
I see more than 6. But
oh,
I also
several. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think we're in good shape. I think we're getting there. Also, we're live, so like we don't make mistakes. We just make happy little accidents.
I know, right? It's been so cozy. I know we're coming up towards the endish. I think we still got like 3-4 minutes left, so we're not quite done with the cozy stomp session. But...
No, it's I think the last thing that I really want to say about sort of like a meta commentary is I was really nervous to do this, and I think that's fine. I think like nerves are okay, and you can work through nerves. I am so novice at crocheting. Like I really cannot impress that enough. I've only been doing this for a few months, but also I think that talking through the process is fun, and I think it's helpful. And I think that challenging yourself to do things that like you're kind of scared of is generally a good thing. So yeah, like I really appreciate the opportunity. I don't really crochet on my own stream. I've thought about it, but then I'm like, who would want to watch a crocheting stream? Well, several of you do, apparently. So
It's really fun.
yeah, and it's great. I would be happy to answer like any questions that folks have about crocheting in general, or Microsoft Free Cell. So I've only performed for 2 marathons. The first one was SGDQ 2022, which was I did Wizards and Warriors all stages, and that was amazing. That was an amazing opportunity. And then the second marathon that I performed for was a 10-minute time attack Microsoft Free Cell rush, which is just playing as many Free Cell games as I could. Until very recently, I was the world record holder in Microsoft Free Cell. So if anyone out there can beat 14.867 seconds to play a game of Free Cell, I challenge you, and I want to see it.
The 2 decimal points of precision on that too. Let's go.
I mean, you know, when the record is so cutthroat, all like 8 of us on the leaderboard have to have something to go for.
It's not a bad number, and that's still awesome. I'm really glad that that's something you've been able to accomplish.
It's been great. At some point I realized that like most of the things that I do out of spite, because I learned how to play Free Cell because I was angry that I didn't know how to play Free Cell. I learned how to crochet because I was angry that I didn't know how to crochet. So like, it's a good motivator, I guess.
Honestly, it works.
Yeah.
It works. I can see that for sure.
Amazing. I thank you for everyone for your kindness and kind comments in chat. Thanks to, I guess, my community also for those of you who showed up. I really appreciate that. We might have a second if I can get the dog over here to see the dog, but we are going to be, I think, wrapping this up pretty shortly. Do you have a time on that, Char?
I know we're getting close, so I think we're under a minute, but I don't have the exact number. So we're gonna go with let's wrap it up, and thank everyone watching. But this has been so much fun. I want to like go in and hack and change the timer and make it longer, but I'm pretty sure that would be against the rules.
I don't think we can do that. Okay, well then the last thing that I'm gonna show you all is if I can get the camera to go. The little dog. Hi, Adam. That's his tail. This is Bud. He doesn't want to look at me.
Friend.
Come here, Bud. Hi. Ooh.
That's fluffier than the Snom.
He's so good. He's a little fluffy boy. That's me. That's my little dog, Adam. ATOM, and he is the sweetest little guy, and I love him. I hope that everyone has a wonderful, wonderful rest of your winter, and come check out Frost Fatales. He is unconcerned. Frost Fatales starting February 26th. I'm gonna be there doing donation stuff. Char's gonna be there, and just I don't know about like physically there, but like emotionally we'll be there together. And yeah, if you want to hang out, come follow my channel. That's great. It's crab.town, which is the best domain I can think of. And that's really a domain. That's a real thing. And yeah, Char, thank you so much for accompanying me on this journey during which we tried to remember how to crochet.
I'm so glad you're willing to have me along for this. I had way too much fun. I know everyone watching did as well. And I know that we're done with this showcase. There is one more on the list for today, so please stick around. We will be doing a Triforce wall hanging with critique quartz.
Yes.
So it's going to be super duper fun. Please stick around for that. And if we can get one more round of, I don't even know what type of emote to do after this amazing showcase and all the conversation topics we covered. But
Stinky cheese! Stinky cheese!
There you go. Cheese and stinky related emotes. Possibly the 2 combined if you have them.
I think that's actually a global Twitch emote, and I just think it's wonderful. I don't know if it has any other connotations, but like when I think of myself and a global Twitch emote, I think stinky cheese. So like, really.
If we can flood the chat with some stinky cheese to show our appreciation for that fantastic showcase, it will be incredible. We are going to take a quick break, but again, we'll be back soon with the Triforce wall hanging showcase. Thank you everyone so much, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks.